he's not used to Jewish callers because Jews don't watch his show. He's like, oh wait, yo, he was soy facing, man. He's like, yo, it's one of me. Let's jump into Seder versus Prager, because I thought this would be super interesting. So obviously Sam Seder can't get a discussion or debate or whatever you want to call it with people like Dennis Prager, Tim Pool, Rogan, or Rubin. Did I say Dave Rubin already? Or Dennis Prager? Anyways, none of these people want to talk to him. They really don't like him. Rogan won't talk to him? Rogan doesn't want to talk to this guy. As far as I've seen, I could be misremembering. So keep the Rogan out. I know Prager and Tim Pool and Dave Rubin really don't want to talk to him. They specifically said that they'll never talk to him because he's evil and stinky, and he's evil, and he's a liar, and he's a fraud, and he's a fool, and he stinks. And so that's why they don't want to talk to him. But so with that being said, he has to do things like with Ethan, where oh my gosh, it's Steven Crowder. But now he's done it again. He's got a new plan, which is to get at Dennis Prager. Since he doesn't want to talk to him, he's going to have to pose as a normal viewer. And he decided to call in to Prager's show, and he actually got on the line. Let's see what they talked about.
I just got an important message.
What?
We're going to be on conference call with maybe Prager. How much time do we got? Hello? Is this Ron Reagan?
Yeah, we're on in a minute. We're on in about a minute.
On the Salem Radio Network. Returns from break in 1 minute and 15 seconds.
This is a great birthday gift. Thank you, Reagan.
You want me to just go right into it?
This is fantastic.
I told him that my son is in college and he's attended college anti-Israel protests.
Okay. I can't hear a thing, but if you didn't hear that, he said, I said that my friend was in college, and there were like anti-Israel protests going on. And obviously Dennis is like, saying anything bad against Israel should be illegal and you should be hung. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Gotcha. And my name is Ron. I'll just let you be Ron.
Okay.
You want me to do it like last time?
Yeah. Let's do it this way.
Radio Network.
That's it.
Returns
My call.
on the Salem Radio Network. Returns from break.
1-8-PRAGER 776-877-243-7776. Albany.
What's up with all these goddamn numbers? Bro has the longest number to ever exist. What do you... He listed out every knowable number known to man.
Oregon. Ron, hello.
Hi, Dennis. Thanks so much for taking my call. I think I told your screener that my kid is in college and there are protests going on there. And needless to say, Thanksgiving was a little bit rough.
IP.
Go on.
Well, my child, I don't want to say the
Gender.
college that they go to because
they have every gender, because they're transgender.
I don't want them to be chased down or anything. But my concern is that my son doesn't appreciate what's going on in Israel at all, and doesn't understand what the dynamics are there. And it is increasingly a problem is what's going on these campuses.
That's right.
So true.
Anti-Semitism
correct.
is a problem in this country. It is rising. I'm not sure if I subscribe totally to the idea that it's a function of secularism because, obviously the Spanish Inquisition, we had a lot of anti-Semitism that existed before any type of secular movement.
In the United States it is. I make it clear in the column. You're right. American Christianity was totally different from European Christianity.
But I mean,
I'm not sure if I'd say
Christianity was pro-Jewish. That's why I read to you John Adams, who was a committed Christian.
Well, that's true.
That Jefferson and Jefferson
was that supposed to be like was he taking a breath there? Was that the pause? He would just that was the slowest breath I've ever heard.
Go on.
Well, I can tell you that, when my parents and my grandparents came over In the 1800s, they had to change their name. They couldn't get insurance. This was not a function, and they were very pious.
Oh, so you're Jewish. Okay, that's interesting. So the fact is, however, that
he said that he was a Jew.
You're right.
Target
compared
locked.
to a truly perfect society, it was a failure. Compared to every other society, why did they flee their society and come to America? If you would have asked your grandparents, are you happy you came to America, even though it was harder to get insurance? They probably would have laughed at you.
Oh, well, no, of course. They left because of pogroms, but they weren't secular in Russia at that time, or Lithuania.
No,
or
you're
Vilnius
right. I've said all of my life to American Jews, my fellow Jews, that the European Christianity was not the same as American Christianity. These are the Christians that put Torah script on the Liberty Bell.
Right.
That had you study Hebrew, that said the greatest contributions were made by Jews, like I read to you from John Adams. This was a different country. This was a different form of Christianity.
Well, I agree. I agree. You have someone like John Hagee speaking at the rally for Israel. I think was frankly an abomination. I wasn't for John Hagee speaking there. He has a record.
I was.
Well, even John McCain.
I thought it was a great choice. I know him very well. Back in a moment.
Okay.
And then he's just gone. Great choice. Fuck you. Here's my ad. He's not used to Jewish callers because Jews don't watch his show. He's like, oh, wait, yo. He was soy facing, man. He's like, yo, it's one of me. 3 minutes of ads. It's crazy. It's worse than TV. I must have a blast. It's really funny. They had some crazy people up there talking at some of these pro-Israel rallies. I don't want to call them pro-Jewish. They're pro-Israel rallies. There's some wild stuff. Even some people up there even were like, we need to be anti-Muslim or anti-Islam or anti-Islamist. It's just, how am I supposed to trust any of these people? Well, Prager isn't Jewish, right? I thought Prager was Jewish. Yeah, he is Jewish, Polish Jewish.
Fascinating. So I don't understand. It's sleep. Hello, sleep. Folks, a lot of you have problems falling asleep or staying asleep. I'm a fan of. So, Jews are more secure. So, relieffactor.com.
Oh my gosh, it's so low.
So my column this week is essentially that when America was more Christian, Jews were more secure. So there are two issues with my caller. This is a really important call. You called because I have a lot of thoughts on what you're saying. So this is Ron in Oregon. And
yes, it's me, Ron.
There are two issues. One is that his son, this is a Jewish family, and his son has been participating in anti-Israel protests at his college. And the other is that he doesn't fully agree with me because look at all the anti-Semitism in Europe, which was done by Christians, and he's absolutely right.
Yes, a lot of those were done by Christians, and even still here in the country, anti-Semitism is really big, and possibly even anti-Semitism has always been really big in America, and I wouldn't say that Jews were more safe in the past than today. I don't think any Jewish person would want to go to does he know any Jewish people who want to go to an older version of the United States because they think they'd be safer? Is he serious? The amount of people reporting, thinking about, looking at, taking Jewish voices into consideration, like Jewish participation in society has gone up dramatically since the founding of the country. It's just completely ridiculous to believe that things are worse now for Jewish people than they were in like the 1600s, 1800s even. To not know about history. Maybe not. I just think that he sees that young people are now not as pro-Israel as they were in the past, and he thinks that means they're now more anti-Jew, which means that everything's all gone to heck. But I'm going to sit here and tell you this now, like, white supremacy, anti-Semitism, like, And anti-Jewish sentiments aren't new. We're seeing them now, but they're not new. There's more reporting on them now, but there's been more protections for Jewish people now than there has been in the history of the United States. Yeah, we used to have an active Nazi party. Like, I remember back in the day where people, you could just look at history. People were way more pro-Nazi back in the 60, 70 years ago than they were today. There are so many that we had an active Nazi party. We had way more people who were sympathizing with Hitler and even wanting to stay out of World War II. Like to sit here and try and tell me that Jewish people were safer back in the, it's just, what are you, stupid?
But as I
the average Jewish person was also a lot poorer too.
Christianity was not European Christianity, and the best place Jews have ever lived outside of their own land has been the United States of America. So your last comment was that you were distressed that at the...
Oh no, there's Finland. There's Finland as well. Sweden. I forget if it was one of the Nordic countries that didn't hand over Jewish people to Nazis as well. Yeah, I don't know. Some places in Africa as well.
Rally in Washington for Israel, they had Pastor Hagee speak, correct?
Jordan?
Yes, that's right. I mean, I was never, I never
Lebanon.
Totally agreed with John McCain about all things, but when he distanced himself in 2008 from Hagee, I thought that was the right thing to do.
And the reason?
Well, I don't think the idea that, and this is what Hagee believes, obviously not what I believe, or I would imagine not what you believe, is that Hitler was sent by God to push Jews to Israel. And I mean, I understand the Christian prophecy that we as Jews are a part of that, but not necessarily in the best way. But I guess my biggest concern is we just had the greatest attack on Jews since the Holocaust take place. And I look at Israel as a place that was founded, at least in part, to protect Jews. And I think that after 75 years, what we're looking at is a situation where that project has failed. And I think in part it's failed because of the way that Israel has gone about it.
Yeah, I thought this was really interesting. To learn more about this, there's a lot of... What's really surprising, but also not surprising at the same time, is that there's a lot of Holocaust denialism within the Jewish community, and for different reasons. There's like the Netanyahu Holocaust denialism when it comes to him believing that Muslims was what pushed Hitler to want to exterminate all of the Jewish people in his reach in Europe specifically. But before, he didn't want to. He just wanted to put them in ghettos. But the Muslims and their evil temptations were whispering in his ear. That changed his mind. And so that also fuels Netanyahu's usage of the Holocaust to maintain his own power in Israel and in surrounding states, as well as distancing himself and hating on the Muslims that people would already be have some sort of, that many people in Israel would have some disdain for, distaste, skepticism towards, that can build for his personal ideology, which is remaining in power and stuff along those lines. And then there's like Hagee, who also wants to say that, oh, it happened and it's for a reason, that God actually sent Hitler, and it was a good thing because now we have Israel, and before we didn't before. So now we're set up better than we ever have been. So if you think about it, it all turned out pretty all right in his mind, which I think is genuinely insane. But it's more justification for and Holocaust denialism, but they all just play different roles for whatever person's trying to say. So this person, he would just be like, it's all part of a larger plan of the universe to be able that justifies our need for being in this land and how we're destined to be here, and that's why we must remain there. So everybody has their own plan for it. Everybody has their own usage. That's why I think it's like really scary watching the weaponization of the Holocaust for different purposes and how it can morph and change, like Plato, how history can be like a toy for rulers and dictators to mend and change at their will for whatever purpose that they have, usually for remaining in power or gaining power.
Okay, so we now entered a third arena. They're all related.
Exactly.
Let me just say this about John Hagee. First of all, I never, ever judge people on the basis of their beliefs. I'm sure you're annoyed when Christians think you're going to hell because you don't believe in Christ. So why are you annoyed with John Hagee for his religious beliefs?
Believing Jesus is the Son of God and believing Hitler was sent by the Lord to kill Jews, and it's good in the long, in his mind, good in the long run, are not similar. This guy is crazy. This guy's out of it. Well, he's getting on him for his Jewish belief. But listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. Just because you have religious beliefs does not mean that I should respect it. If your religious belief is that you own my house and like it was revealed to you in a dream that you belong in my house that I live in right now, I'm gonna tell you that I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you believe it so bad and you give it a try, then you may have the opportunity to go ask him yourself soon. You know, it's like one of those things. It's just like, yeah, just because you believe something doesn't mean you get to do or say whatever you want without any repercussions for that. And it's really weird. And this is more of a political belief than a religious one, if I'm going to be honest with you, especially since there's no basis in his holy scripture or anything. He just made it up.
If indeed that's what he said. I have reviewed it. It's not fully clear to me, but let's say he said that. God sent Hitler. My father, who was an Orthodox Jew and fought Hitler in the U.S. Navy for 3 years, believed that God sent Hitler because he couldn't believe that the Holocaust just happened and God watched it.
Yeah, it's called delusion. It's called justifications for things that happen. His brain is trying to make sense of what he witnessed. That doesn't mean that he's like a good. Doesn't mean that that's right or should be. It should be sympathized with. He needs therapy. Delulu is not the Salulu here.
There are.
It's called mental illness, trauma.
Yes, but that is
okay. So fine. So what exactly? How remarkably different was my father's view? I don't agree with my father, but it doesn't matter. It does. As I said, I judge beliefs, but I don't judge people by their beliefs. So John Hagee has been one of the most pro-Jewish, pro-Israel figures in American life. He has founded the largest organization of Christians. It is the CUFI, Christians United for Israel.
I know that. But Dennis,
okay.
that actually relates to my other point.
Good?
Because I do think that intent. I do think intent is important here. So it is true that that Israel has a lot of support from CUFI and other Christian Zionists, but they want the Jews there so that they go through hellfire. And I also know that the Netanyahu,
that's not true.
the
Netanyahu,
from CUFI and other Christian Zionists. But they want the Jews there so that they go through hellfire. And I also know that, the Netanyahu... That's not
true.
The Netanyahu...
That is true. I know
that is exactly the prophecy that Hagee is talking about. And,
no.
And
okay.
I will also say this. With Netanyahu...
Okay.
Wait, so he did say it? He did say the Jews need to go through hellfire and then they'll come out on the other end and then be saved? Okay. All right. It's like Borsenko who also said that like God sent Hitler to do what he was doing. But also she went even further to say that everybody who died, their soul originally specifically wanted to go to Earth to die in the Holocaust because they thought it would be an interesting experience and Souls-like experience. So they were in the Soul Garden and then they went down to Earth to be able to be holocausted, and then they went back up to heaven and were like, guys, that was so interesting. That's crazy. Peculiar even. Evangelical Christians are mad. They're pretty crazy people. I don't like them. You gotta cut them a run. We gotta cut them off, man. You don't get it.
Oh.
We can't let him say stuff like that. Is there any more?
I think he might be done with that.
I get the sense he was. He definitely cut me off.
Should we hang on the line this?
Turn some break in
Listen.
Try to,
break in 45 seconds.
you know,
Dennis Prager
you know,
Show
try to
on the
encourage
Salem
people.
Radio
With, you know,
Whoopsie.
What is this trap fiddle remix? What's going on right now? Also, how do people watch this show? Is he that old? Does he have to poop does he have to like piss every 5 minutes? Is that why there's a break that it's trap shanty? Does he have to like piss every 5 minutes or something? Is that why he goes on break this much? It's wild.
you know,
The Dennis Prager
you know,
Show
try to
on the
encourage
Salem
people
Radio
with posts and try to,
break in 45 seconds.
you know, help them if I can.
He has the top up on adrenochrome. You're right. He needs a little more.
What has happened to the Democrats?
The Dennis Prager Show on the Salem Radio Network returns from break in 15 seconds.
Let's see. Is there more ads?
Go to relieffactors.com, read what people have written about this product, which relieves pain.
Oh my gosh, it's still going.
And comes back. Try it for 3 weeks. You should definitely try it. Relieffactor.com.
Please.
God knows I thank you for your call and your openness.
Thank you.
But with your views with regard to Israel, it's not shocking that your son would have participated in anti-Israel demonstrations at college.
Well,
I know you wouldn't, and I fully appreciate that, but
unfortunately, we have to cut to another commercial break.
he didn't come from a home that made peace
that loves
with
Israel
as a national Jewish project.
Well, I think that's not. I don't think that's true. Actually, I mean, certainly much of my Hebrew school, and I at that point was more conservative than Orthodox. But much of my Hebrew schooling was oriented towards Israel. Many of my teachers were
but that's
former
irrelevant. It's your views.
Well,
look, you said.
But all I'm saying is I'm looking at this as a practical matter, though, Dennis, because as a practical matter, if the part of the Zionist project was to provide a safe home for Jews, I mean, and surely you know this as well, we have Israelis now who are in bomb shelters 4 times a day, and that it has not worked. The peace and security for Jews as a single ethno-national state has not worked.
And that seems, I mean, it is pretty true that them having a state, sure, them being safe in it, no, that will not happen. And if this keeps continuing the same way that it has for 70 years now, they'll never have a safe state. It's just not possible to have a safe state. The state itself was born from the crime of taking it specifically from other people and not doing a good enough integration of those people back into that land. It was forcibly taken and then just sat upon them. The settler projects still going on, the bombing still going on, the apartheid, the genocide, the crimes against humanity, and the people that surround them on all sides really just will not allow for this situation to come out with a state safe for Jewish people as like an ethno-national, Jewish people and Israelis as an ethno-national identity. It's just not possible. It hasn't happened, and I don't think it will. If it continues in this way, it just will never happen. How some people have talked about how this is just going to be a reoccurring thing where there's going to be peace for a while, There's just going to be no active bombings for a long time. And then we're just going to continue on with massive attack, bombs dropping all the time, bombs that we hear of dropping all the time. And that's just what it's going to be like. People in bomb shelters all the time, a society always living in fear. Like, this type of stuff happens in only like the poorest, worst countries in the entire world, when in Israel is held up by some of the largest, most powerful, most richest countries to ever exist. It's just not something that I think is ever going to come out with a solution of peace if things like this just keep continuing. It's a great point. Yeah, I haven't really necessarily thought about that in that way, but I'm not Jewish. I'm not Jew-pilled, and I don't have any friends who are Jewish in a way where they care about. I know people who are Jewish the same way that like a white person from Ohio is Native American. Meaning to say not very.
On that,
so therefore, you believe Jews would be more secure if there weren't a Jewish state and it was just a Jewish and Muslim state,
and Christian. I mean, I think
but there are so few Christians there. Okay,
well, yes, yeah.
There are less now that Israel has been bombing some of the oldest Christian churches and architecture in the entire world. Yeah, there are less now, but there could be more. There could be more. Yeah, why don't I get a right? I'm my name is even Christian. Why don't I get a right to return? What the fuck? Where's my right to return? I want to go to Jerusalem. I want to go to Bethlehem. That sounds like where's my right? Why do Jews only get the right to return? What about me? Muslim peoples also, they should also have a right to return there. It's a pretty cool place. It's maybe the dumbest war we've ever had. Possibly. I mean, I don't know. There is the Afghanistan war. I deserve my birthright.
Yes, of course. It's academic.
You believe Jews would be more secure with majority Arab rule?
Majority Arab rule. I'm going to tell you this now. The majority of people in that land, Israel, Palestine, right now are not majority Arab. They're actually majority Jewish. Well, actually, I can't even say that because they're Arab Jews. It's like he's using Arab to say Muslim. Okay, so like the people that live in that area are not majority Muslim. It's just not true. It's factually untrue at this moment in time. And on top of that, the people who are having the most, who are like reproducing the most, that are adding to the population of Israel the most right now, are specifically Orthodox, very religious Jews at this moment in time. So that's also, it's just weird. I just think that if they stopped blowing up people and like stop the settler project, that there'd be less antagonism against Israel. Would it go away completely? No. But would it go down a lot? Yeah, I think so. That's my personal opinion.
I think absolutely a multi-ethnic society could be set up. I mean, listen, this is the same thing that people said about South Africa.
Look, I got to leave you at that because we've talked so long.
Okay. Well, Dennis, I really appreciate you having this conversation with me.
The listener decide.
Thank you.
But I think you need to be honest with yourself. If you believe that
I am being honest with
Zionist
myself,
project
Dennis,
is a failure.
I think he muted him.
Surprising that your son would have demonstrated against Israel on his campus.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't characterize the demonstration
St. Petersburg, Florida. Corey, hello.
He's already muted him. He's already gone. Not Florida. Wow, that's all they get to say? Yeah, it's crazy that he hung up. Yeah, he hung up a while ago. Yeah. Wow, he hung up on him. He cut him off right there. St. Petersburg's Florida. Come here. Oh. Hi. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. If you're enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, it'll make Boo very sad. I know a bunch of you who are watching are not subscribed. Join the frenzy. You won't regret it. Thank you, Boo.